When it comes to horse racing, you can never have too much information. With Twin Spires, you can place your bets with confidence, whether you use handicapping insights like our Brisnet speed ratings, prime power and past performances, the guidance of our experts' top picks, or just choose a name that catches your eye. Yes! No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires. And now you can race to victory with Twin Spires tournaments.
Welcome back to the Twin Spires Racing Roundtable. I'm Ashley Anderson here with James Scully. It's a two-person racing roundtable coming to you on a Wednesday. We're going to be looking back at stakes action from Saratoga and top performers from across the country this past weekend. Plus, we'll look ahead to a very big weekend. Del Mar opening day is on Friday. We have more stakes action at Saratoga, and it's Haskell Day at Monmouth Park. So we'll be looking at all of that on today's show. And James, we will jump right in and talk about that stakes action. And mostly, I think we're just covering the spa since Vance, I think, was going to come in and talk some European racing, but I think we prefer to just keep it to the States today. So James, I'll have you talk about what caught your eye from Saratoga.
Yeah, it was relatively slow week, especially in the U.S., sort of the calm before the storm, because we got a couple of huge weekends coming up at Monmouth and Saratoga the next couple of weekends. But there were 17 turf races scheduled at Saratoga on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they only ran 4, and those 4 took place on the turf. And were all stakes, And I thought there were some real notable performances. Obviously, I'll put the spotlight on a turf sprinter. But first off, I'll mention I thought the Diana was just a great race, a real thrilling contest between a pair of top-class fillies, An Excellent Truth and She Feels Pretty. I think they could hold their own, against Europeans down the road. They're really good. Farbridge won the Bowling Green. He's now won 5 of his last 7 starts, including a pair of Grade 1s, and he's the best American long distance turf horse. We'll see what the European participation is, but among the North American runners, Farbridge figures to be a prohibitive favorite when he makes a title defense in the Grade 1 Sword Dancer in next month at Saratoga. But I'm going to put the spotlight on Governor Sam, and they ran the Grade 3 Quick Call on Sunday. It was a 5.5 furlong turf stakes for 3-year-olds. And last year we saw, and we'll see Governor Sam in here. He breaks from, he's the number 2 horse. He breaks pretty forwardly. He was really sharp braking last year and showed high speed. But I like how he settled in this race. You could see Irad Ortiz Jr. gets him to settle back along the inside in 3rd. Last year, Ashley, he was all speed. All his wins came on the front end. He reeled off stakes, 3 consecutive stakes wins before setting a wicked, torrid pace in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf and winding up beating only a length in Turf Sprint, Juvenile Turf Sprint, and wound up beating only a length in 3rd. And we'll see Farbridge here. I just think this ability to settle and just not be so one-dimensional has really taken him potentially to a new level this year. He came back in the William Walker on the opening night at Churchill Downs, Governor Sam did, and he was sort of similar to his 2-year-old form. He was all speed that night, 44, like half mile, and wound up a close 3rd. His start before the quick call was on dirt. I won't count that against him. But I just thought that was a new dimension he showed on Sunday. I think that really benefits him in the turf sprint ranks moving forward. So I thought I'd mention that performance from Governor Sam.
I know Irad Ortiz Jr. talked about wanting to get him to relax, and it looked like that really did work out well for him. He actually was going up against 2 stablemates, and it was a 1-2-4 finish for George Weaver in that race. But clearly, Governor Sam, the best in the field, and now I think pointed toward a Grade 3 potentially at Saratoga going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think coming back, that was only a second turf stake of the year. They got a lot of big turf sprints coming up in the fall and later in the Saratoga meet. So I like his timing. The one thing about these sprinters is sometimes they can be really good, but they just, for whatever reason, they can't hold their form throughout the course of the whole season. Unfortunately, that was a little bit of the case with Cogburn. I thought in the turf sprint, as brilliant and he had been from early in the year. I mean, he was running in the spring. Just at the end of the season, for whatever reason, he just, basically just couldn't hold it at the most crucial point. So I like Governor Sam's win, and I think he's set for a good fall.
And kind of talking about what you said earlier with Farbridge, I won't go too much into the Grade 2 Bowling Green. It was a scratch depleted race, just 4 horses, and Farbridge really was just the top class of the field. But he really is, I think, right now, the top turf male in the country. We haven't seen Johannes yet. He has been putting in workouts, but hasn't made his season debut. And that once he does make his season debut, could come back into the conversation. I think right now, though, we put Farbridge at the top. But when it comes to the female turf division after this weekend, I thought it kind of was shaken up just a little bit. We had in the Grade 1 Diana Excellent Truth put in a great stretch battle with She Feels Pretty and got up to win just by a head. And you're going to watch the stretch run right here. But Excellent Truth, actually, you see She Feels Pretty put her head in front, and then you can watch this battle happen where it's back and forth all the way down until finally Excellent Truth gets up at the wire. But previously in the U.S., she was 0 for 2 for Chad Brown since shipping over to the U.S. and then finally got her first win here in the States. And if you ask Chad Brown after the race, she is the top turf female in the division. And if she hadn't...
Oh no, I think we lost Ashley. Yeah, I'll echo her points with Chad Brown. Chad Brown, definitely a big fan, and he has every reason to be with Excellent Truth because she had been a little unlucky, had some tough beats where just didn't get the right setup, and I love the courage she showed. Now that race was on yielding turf. I thought of all 3 days over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that Saturday was the turf was more wet that day. I mean, it was sloppy to start the day, whereas on Friday and Sunday they were running the opener under fast conditions on the main track. So I'm still not convinced She Feels Pretty. Ashley loves the yielding ground as much as she does firm ground. But I mean, she handles it just fine. She had won the New York over yielding ground before that, and take nothing away from them. But I guess my point is, the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf this fall is her ultimate target. She Feels Pretty, and she's going to get firm ground in that race. So it was still a great effort by the runner-up, a terrific effort by the winner. And Chad Brown has every reason to be bullish. And I know you were going to bring up he's upset at how they moved the stake schedule around. And I think he has every reason to be upset about that.
I dropped off for a second, so I didn't get to hear a lot of what you said.
Yeah.
But yes, he had a lot to say after that race. And I don't know where we're going to see Excellent Truth. I don't know if you said that when I had dropped off the live stream, but since he doesn't like the 3 turns, I don't know if we'll see her maybe show up in the Breeders' Cup Mile. Who knows? But she did at least finally get that win to prove that she should be in the conversation for top turf female. I think we should just move on because I don't know what all you said.
All right.
But we will move over to what else caught our eye from the weekend. So what was that for you?
Well, I'm going to put the spotlight on certainly during these meets on some 2-year-old performers in this what else section. I did a lot of that last year, and Saratoga did have that July 4th racing festival the week before. We saw some good 2-year-old performances. Ewing was the first out winner. Obliteration won the Grade 3 Sanford by 10.5 lengths. But of the 2-year-old performers last week at Saratoga, 2 really caught my eye. And I'll just talk about them. As far as the males goes, I'll start with Curtain Call, who ran, both of these races were last Saturday. Curtain Call was in a 6 furlong maiden special weight. He's a Tiz the Law colt trained by Mark Cassey. He got bet down to 5-2 in his debut and proved no match for Obliteration, finishing second, beating like 7 lengths. But really, off of that effort, came back just I thought with a much more professional showing. Move forward. Mark Cassey, you'll see him here on the outside wearing down the pace setter and just surging clear late. Mark Cassey, his horses run better the second time out than they do the first time out. He'll just have some talented runners that win their debut. But this is a great example. This Curtain Call, like I said, he's a Florida bred son of Tiz the Law. He's got some talent. He got a 94 Bristnet speed rating, which is an outstanding number for a 2-year-old maiden race in July, and has a bright future potentially off that maiden win. As far as the fillies go, Tom Amos sent out a filly on Sunday, Spa Prospector. And excuse me, we'll see her stretch run right here. She's the one horse. Didn't show speed from the gate in her debut and never fired. Her second time out, she moved forward significantly. Showed high speed from the gate to take the early lead, and after cruising around on a short advantage, really just powered clear through the stretch to win by almost 4 lengths. Got a really solid number as well. Spa Prospector did an 89. And Spa Prospector is a $450,000 daughter of Authentic. Authentic is a second-year sire. He's a really good sire. He's got a lot of runners, and he had he's had numerous stakes winners. But she's a perfect example of like the I think noteworthy sires now coming along, young sires. Authentic is like 8 or 9% first out. Ashley. He does not throw high winners first time out for whatever reason, but his runners will improve with experience. Spa Prospector did it in a big time way. And, that's just, I think she's another example of how these Authentics can get better with the race under their belt.
Both of those horses, they had more than a 20-point jump in their Bristnet speed figures, and they both made their debuts over a fast track, coming over a sloppy track second out. Very interesting to see that much of a jump from a Bristnet speed figure perspective over an off track.
Yeah, I mean, Curtain Call ran better the first time out. He just ran into a potential monster.
Yeah.
These early season races at Saratoga can be a mixed bag sometimes, but so far with that Sanford, that grade 3 Sanford with Obliteration, he looks like he has a future the rest of the year. And, that might have been a key race at Churchill Downs on June 6th that he won with Curtain Call running so big, or June 12th at Churchill Downs with Curtain Call running so big second time out.
Right. Yep. Well, I'll talk about another maiden winner from this weekend, Dr. Agnew. And we spoke about this on the jury a little bit. Nick Tamro talked about it was a feel-good story. We had the son of Lady Eli. This is Dr. Agnew is by Into Mischief out of Lady Eli, the 2017 Eclipse Champion Turf Female. We're watching this race right here. Dr. Agnew was making his debut, originally scheduled for a mile on the turf, but with the rain, they took a number of races, as you talked about, James, off the turf. This was one of them, and it was cut back to 7 furlongs on the main track. Cherie DeVoe talked with Jose Ortiz and decided, let's go ahead and put him on this main track and try him out, get a start under his belt. And if you're watching, he's kind of out of it. He's about 10 lengths back on the back stretch, and then he makes this rally coming up here, the 3. I'm trying to see where he is right
he's
now.
in between horses.
Okay,
there.
He's in between horses, but ends up winning by a length.
And, no, he's outside. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the
there you go. So, running away with it now by a length, and wasn't the biggest percent speed figure. It was a 70, but meant to race on the turf. Cherie said that she is going to put him on the turf after the start, and likely the grade 3 with anticipation. That was always really the goal with him. But the feel-good story being that this horse was named after Dr. Agnew, who helped Lady Eli after she developed laminitis, which she stepped on a nail. We talked about it on Thursday after the Belmont Oaks, and laminitis is, often fatal with horses, but she was able to not only recover, but race and win 4 more graded stakes. She was named, as I said, in 2017, that Eclipse Award winner for Champion Turf Female. And now she has this colt running. She has three foals that have raced, but I think two have been overseas, and this was the first in the US. So for him to win on debut, plus Dr. Agnew, he did unfortunately, tragically pass away back in 2015, that same year that he helped out with Lady Eli's recovery, and his widow came in to watch the race, got there about 3 minutes to post from what I read driving from North Carolina. So I know it was emotional for Cherie DeVoe. You saw her even like wiping a tear in the winner's circle, and kind of the feel good story to kick off the summer meet at Saratoga.
Yeah, I mean, you covered it. And I'll tell you, Lady Eli's first two foals that raced overseas, they weren't very good. So I thought it was very encouraging to see Dr. Agnew open his racing career with a win. Look, I think he's a good looking individual. He strided out really well after the wire. That race wasn't fast like you referenced, but he's got potential on the turf, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him make a good transition. He certainly has the pedigree to be good on turf, and he flashed some promise winning first time out. So I hope he continues to move forward.
And round out, we'll talk about that big stakes action this weekend. Del Mar, we've got Monmouth Park, Saratoga again. James, what are you looking forward to, or who are you looking forward to watching this weekend?
Well, I'll just say I'm excited for the Del Mar opener on Friday. They've got 5 turf races. As somebody who has spent a lot of time actually handicapping Saratoga turf races, just to come away frustrated that all that work was for naught, it's a feeling of comfort that any work I put in at Del Mar will probably, what those races are going to take place on the turf. It's like a 90+% chance, 99% chance. They never are off the turf at Del Mar, very, very rarely. And the opening day features Oceanside for 3-year-olds who haven't won a stake race at a mile or farther. And it's a good field. I thought big field. All the turf races came up real competitive. I'll take a look at some of those. I'll take a look at a little bit of Del Mar on the jury tomorrow. And I'll also put the spotlight on Haskell. It's the big day at Monmouth Park, Haskell Day. There are a total of 6 stakes, 5 graded, that we have put up on the screen right here. These 5 graded stakes are worth $2.8 million combined. The Haskell is the $1 million grade one, but really got some good fields, I thought. That Monmouth Cup has Just the Touch, who is coming in off of the Met Mile effort, and real promising 4-year-old still for Brad Cox. The Molly Pitcher got grade 1 Ogden Phipps winner Dorth Vader, and she's in there in field of 9. So it's not like it's one of those short fields we see in a lot of filly and mare dirt stakes nowadays. Also have Candied in there coming off a win in the Lair DuPont, so it's a good race. The United Nations, the grade 2 United Nations, 12 horse field. Rebel Reds coming in there off of a stakes win at Churchill, redistricting off of a win in the Monmouth Cup. So that's going to be a good betting race, I think. And then the Haskell, but journalism 4 to 5 on the morning line, going to be a huge favorite come post time. And I won't be surprised to see him win, but I do think it's a little bit interesting in this Haskell, where goal oriented. To me, I'm not sold on him at 9 furlongs yet. I thought, you take a look at that mile and a 16th win at Churchill Downs. I don't know how much he had left in the stretch after a pretty comfortable pace. And, then he came back, and I know he still held on for 4th and was involved in all that bumping, but he was pretty much out of horse when all that stuff went down in mid-stretch in the Preakness. So I still have some doubts about him, but he's going to get bet. He's training lights out, Ashley, in California for Bob Baffert, who has won the Haskell a record 9 times. His horses always get bet. I see it as journalism and goal-oriented as top 2 betting choices. And Gosker, to me, is the intriguing horse in the field. I mean, This horse was just a maiden winner go, a couple months ago before he ran
Hmm.
in the Lexington Stakes, a few months ago before he ran in the Lexington Stakes at Keeneland. He went off that race to run a huge second in the Preakness. And going back and watching that replay, I agree with Brendan Walsh and Luis Saez. I think he may have just gotten lost on a clear lead and deep stretch. He was so he lacked seasoning compared to a
Hmm.
horse like Journalism and Sandman and others that were in that field. That was a huge effort from an improving horse who has every chance to keep improving. And as the third choice in the Haskell, I got to tell you, Gosker's got something going for him in my eyes.
He was the horse that stood out to me too. But you bring up in the Preakness, obviously he had the advantage of not being part of that group that got bumped around with goal oriented. And then you had the Steve Asmussen runner. I'm blanking on the name. And then you
Oh,
had
clever
obviously,
again.
yeah, and then Journalism all, getting bumped around. And then you had Gosker with the clear path, but still got caught. But as you said, that was just what his fourth career start.
It was
So
his fourth career start. He had just broken his maiden and run in
and
the
then run to
Lexington.
Lexington. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do expect improvement there and think that, he only has more potential to go. But I also think Burnham Square, I started looking at him a little bit too. Just the fact that last out he was barely beaten in the Matt Win was closing in that race. And then when he was in the Kentucky Derby, he got bumped around as well, didn't have the smoothest trip. So I'm wondering maybe you get 5-1 on the morning line for him. So I'm kind of looking at him as well as one to play because I like playing against the favorites and I've had some decent luck playing against Journalism a few times. So I might try to do it again.
He could get a decent setup, Ashley, Burnham Square, because I do think Bracket Buster is going to show speed from the inside, rail post. You
Hmm.
got a speed
You got
long
that
shot in
wild and
here.
crazy night. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Gosker is going to be prominent. We'll
Maybe
see
even
how,
National Law might
yeah.
try to get in
And
front.
Kentucky Outlaw and Goal Oriented set the pace 2 starts back. So all those horses could be up there, sort of mixing it up and keeping the pace honest in a sense. I do think Journalism is going to be ridden patiently because they're going to try to change tactics when they run against Sovereignty again, not let him run them down in the stretch. So we'll see if he's ridden differently, if that works out. Like I said, I mean, we've seen Journalism. We know what he is, but there's always these three, not always, but for time to time, you get these horses, these 3-year-olds that weren't ready for the Derby. Maybe they'll make a start in the latter Triple Crown races, or they just get into stakes in summer and they go on and they're major players in the division. And to me, Gosker's got that. So does Goal Oriented, but they both have that kind of profile. And we'll see if they can step up against a horse like Journalism on Saturday.
I'll close out talking about Saratoga. We have 3 graded stakes on Saturday. The Coaching Club American Oaks is going to feature Immersive going up against Licara, who beat Immersive stablemate Good Cheer in the Acorn. And then you're going to have the Grade 3 Caress. But I wanted to focus in on the Alfred G. Vanderbilt, which is a Grade 2 this year. Did get downgraded from a Grade 1, but drew a really competitive field. You've got Bookham Dano, who's coming off of winning the True North, beat Mulliken in that race. Mulliken was second, but Mulliken looking to turn the tables. And Rudy Broussais did note that the track conditions may have affected Mulliken. He should get, I think, a fast track this week, and we'll see what the weather does. But we also have Scully in the mix, who had 6 furlongs. That is very much, that is his special. I mean, that's his distance that I think he is a specialist in, but he does win a lot at Oaklawn. I've always been skeptical with Scully outside of Oaklawn, but maybe can finally get the job here because he is likely to set the early pace. And if he can just get a clear lead, maybe can run away with it. But you got Baby Yoda in there who does well at Saratoga. Nakatomi looking to bounce back and is the closer in this field who could get a really hot pace to run into. You got Nash for Brad Cox, and then Damon's Mound, who seems to be improving for Bill Mott, and then Full Moon Madness as well, who is a graded stakes winner in the Tom Fool. So it's a really good competitive field, and I don't feel like I necessarily at this moment have a clear-cut winner. Bookham Dano, I think, is best at 6.5 furlongs, which is what he ran in the True North, and now cutting back, and I think really it maybe benefits Mulliken to bounce back here going to that 6 furlong distance based off of where he was running last out in the True North.
Milligan likes to be prominent. It'll be interesting to see how close he is to Scully, who's going to be gunning it from the rail in the early stages. Nakatomi, tossed his head at the start of the True North and just never really got involved. So he is a little bit of a candidate to bounce back in a sense after that just poor start. And he likes Saratoga. Baby Yoda, you referenced a little bit of a horse for course. He had been unraced this year until June 13th at Aqueduct. He set a track record that day, winning by more than 4 lengths, 113 and 4 for 6.5 furlongs. He's a little intriguing. I don't know if he'll be good enough, but definitely intriguing. But Bookham Dano, we saw him win at 7 furlongs at Colonial. I know maybe 6 might be his best distance, but I don't think 6.5 will be any issue if he's ready. And he'll have a little bit of a cheering crowd in Kentucky because, we like those guys with Dano.
Well, he's cutting back to 6. He ran 6.5 last out. I feel like.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I see what
you're
saying. Yeah.
But he does have a win at 6 furlongs in the Jersey Shore, which is also racing this weekend. But I do think maybe just a little bit extra ground is ideal for him. But yeah, I think he certainly fits right in. He's 2 for 3 at Saratoga. He won the Woody Stevens as well at 7 furlongs back in 2024 at Saratoga, and he is 3 for 3 at 6 furlongs. And
his last race was arguably his best race, so that's a good sign too.
Huge 104% speed figure there. But yeah, a lot of the top sprinters in the country going head to head in that race, so it should be fun. In spite of the fact that it was downgraded to a grade 2, it feels like a grade 1 on paper.
Hey, the sprint division, we talked about this previously, but the sprint division for both males and females has much more depth and quality than recent years. So I like these races.
All right, well, I think that's all the time we have today. We're almost up to 30 minutes, despite it being a 2-person jury. We can talk a lot. But we will be talking more next Tuesday is the plan. Tuesday roundtable to look at all the stakes action we just covered. And of course, tomorrow, the Twin Spires jury will give you our best bets and fades in a lot of these races. So check that out on our live stream on our social channels. We'll see you then.
When it comes to horse racing, you can never have too much information. With Twin Spires, you can place your bets with confidence. Whether you use handicapping insights like our Brisnet speed ratings, prime power, and past performances, the guidance of our experts' top picks, or just choose a name that catches your eye. Yes! No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires. And now you can race to victory with Twin Spires tournaments.